Well, good morning and welcome to Blackstone Chronicles, broadcasting from Blackstone, Virginia, the center of the world. But then you two are at the center of the world. So let's get going. Yesterday, right in the middle of the talk, somebody came to the door. I'm doing this in my foyer. You can see my foyer here. This is my beautiful, found it in an attic. My beautiful yin-yang shelf where I have all my artifacts, all my little statues and artifacts and my pictures on the wall. That right there is backwards. Whoops. Says Naughty Knots. Yeah, Naughty Knots. Well, we had a houseboat in Miami Beach in 1969. In 70, the name of the houseboat was Naughty Knots. And I put that on a skateboard. Anyway, this is my foyer. So you see right there that is the front door. And I hung this suitcase over the door to cut the light, but it's so bright this morning, as you see. It's kind of like ruining the exposure, so I'm going to shift the camera around maybe to this point right here. And you see behind me is a picture of Swami Muktananda, and over here you see a picture of my wife and I when we got remarried at Swami Muktananda's ashram in South Fallsburg, New York. Complete Indian wedding, group wedding with about 20 couples from around the world. Anyway, I digress. The title of this talk is, wait a minute, what is the title? I would cut off my right arm. I would cut off my right arm for that. You know, people say that all the time. Oh, I would cut off my right arm for that. Now, why is that significant? Is because your right arm is the arm that is your power. It's the arm that holds the sword. It's the arm, most people are right. If you were left-handed, you'd say, I'd cut off my left arm for that. But anyway, you get the point here, is that the right arm is your power arm. With that, you're helpless. And I'd give it up. I would give up my power for that. And fill in the blank. What is it? That relationship, that job, that new car? What is it? Well, if you are on a spiritual path, if your hunger is for truth, if your hunger is for rest, if your hunger is to put your mind at rest, if your mind is turbulent and it's just catch-22, it just can't find anything that gives it rest, nothing helps. Nothing you do is any good. Nothing you do is any good to find this rest that you know is there. Now, usually in our society, our worldly society, we say, oh, well, when somebody dies, it's rest and peace. They've gone to a better place. So in our worldview, the only time you're going to find this rest is when you die. Because this is hell. But, oh, they went to a better place. They went to a better place. Go to funerals. What's the message? Oh, they finally found rest. They're finally free from the suffering, the conflict and the unrest and the yearning and the disaster and the hurt and the pain and all of that. Now they can rest in peace. Well, if you're not satisfied with that, if you're not happy with the thought, well, if I just wait until I'm dead, I'll be at rest, you see. If you're not happy with that message, then you want to find rest in this life. You want to find peace, inner peace and rest now, in this life. There's no real guarantee that you'll find it in death. There's no real guarantee that there is anything after death, you know. But that's speculation. You want it now. You want to find rest now. And so we come to Bodhidharma and Zen koans. It's only been recently, say the last 5-6 years, that I discovered a teacher who unlocked the door for me on how to work with Zen. I'm not a Zen Buddhist, but I work with it. And that's thanks to this teacher I found named Albert Lowe, who died in 2016, I think. I'm not doing get into that. Anyway, he was a Zen master at Montreal Zen Center. Wrote many books. Google him up, Albert Lowe. And his talks, there's 20 free talks on his website, where he works with koans. So, and during his sessions, 7-day sessions, he would give a teisho every day. And a teisho is a motivational talk in Zen that works with nuts. Metaphorically speaking, they work with hard shell black walnuts. So if you say, I want rest, you may go to a teacher, you may go to someone and say, please give me rest. Like I went to Muktananda back in the 70s. I said, give me rest. And he did give me rest. But then when he died, the unrest came back. You see. Now I had to discover it for myself. But anyway, let's continue. I have a black walnut tree in my yard, and black walnuts are the hardest of nuts. I mean, you know, if you ever tried to crack a walnut, you know, my wife grew up here, and her job was to crack them with a hammer, you know. But we have some very intelligent squirrels, and they can just split those walnuts right open. So a koan is like a black walnut that no matter what you do, you pound on it, you chew it, and it will not open. You cannot find the rest. You cannot find this peace that you know exists because it's your true nature, but you can't find it. So we go to teachers. Now this is the koan of Bodhidharma and Huiko. The Bodhidharma is the first patriarch of Zen. He came to China from India, or maybe Pakistan, I don't know, but he came from the West at an advanced age as a Zen master. And he came to China, and he laid the seeds for Zen Buddhism in China. China was Buddhist for hundreds of years before Bodhidharma came in around 500 AD, you see. So we're already right there, 1,000 years since Buddha himself. So Buddhism was in China, but it was not Zen Buddhism. It didn't crack open the walnut. People just chewed on it. You see, so Buddhism without Zen is chewing on the walnut. If I just chew on it long enough, if I just sit in meditation long enough, the walnut will fall open. If I just do these disciplines in yoga and do the chakra beads and do the malas and do the asanas and do the meditation and don't eat meat and don't drink and don't smoke and be good, eventually the walnut will fall open. So I just have to wait, be patient. This suffering will pass. Okay. Well, you're going to wait until you die. You got to do something. But what can you do? Because nothing you do is any good. There we see. Nothing you can do is going to open that walnut. Nothing. But you got to open it. You can't not open it. Because that's doing something too. And that's no good. So doing something and not doing anything is no good. Now, what are you going to do? And that's where Zen starts. Now, what are you going to do? When doing and not doing is no good. What, you see? So that's where the second patriarch was brought. Now, the second patriarch, this is the beginning of Zen, metaphorically in legend. Bodhidharma came to China and sat in a cave for 9 years, and he was already 100, I don't know. Sat in a cave. He only had one disciple. And that disciple was a monk named Huiko, who had a burning, burning, yearning desire to be at rest, to find this elusive peace that he knew existed but could not find. Bodhidharma's in a cave meditating. Huiko comes and stands in the snow up to his knees, freezing, waiting for the great master to turn and recognize him, you see. Bodhidharma meditated. Finally, in frustration, Huiko cuts off his right arm. I'd give my right arm for that. This is, look at it, legend. Oh, Zen Buddhism is no good because you cut off your arm. No, that's not it at all. This is teaching through legend, metaphorically. So he cuts off his right arm, and Bodhidharma turns and says, "What do you want?" And Huiko says, "Honored sir, I cannot put my mind to rest. Please, please. I'm standing in the snow. I've cut off my arm. Please, 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 put my mind to rest." And Bodhidharma said, "Okay, bring me your mind and I'll put it to rest." And then Huiko said, "I have searched and searched for this mind to bring it to you, and I cannot find it." "There," said Bodhidharma, "I've put your mind to rest." And Huiko was awakened, and he became the second patriarch of Zen. That's the story. But if you just think it's a story, you miss the mark. You won't crack the walnut. You'll just chew on it some more. What Zen is about, what the walnut is, the wisdom of the walnut is, that there is like a sweet spot. I don't know, the squirrels do it. I'll show you a picture on my thing. But there's these two halves of a walnut sitting there on the bench. I have a cement bench next to a walnut tree. And the walnut is just opened up so sweetly and effortlessly and revealing the sweet meat inside what the squirrel eats. There's no chewing on it. There's no hacking. The walnut just falls open and reveals its inner peace to you, like an offering. So the squirrel knows how to open the walnut, but we don't. So the Zen koan, in my understanding, in my practice, is like that walnut. You get a Zen koan like Bodhidharma in a cave. What is he talking about? What does that mean? Bring me your mind and I'll give it peace. I can't find the mind. There. I've given you peace. Can you crack that? You have to work with that. You have to sweat with that. You have to, my teacher says you have to inhabit the koan. You have to be Huiko. You have to feel his anguish. You have to feel his yearning, his desire for peace, for God, whatever you want to call it, for home. He has to get in there and he has to cut off his right arm for it, you see. Now be Bodhidharma. Now Bodhidharma, obviously, is at rest. Huiko is turbulent. Whoa. Huiko is in a catch-22. Nothing Huiko can do can get him out of this sweat, can get him out of this turmoil. And if you're on a spiritual practice, that turmoil gets very intense. Because in the world, you can just buy something under the hope that this new car will remove the turmoil, and for a while it does. Or you get a new kitchen. For a while it does, but then the turmoil comes back. And you buy something else. You get another job. You get another relationship. On and on and on and on. Peace is only temporary. It always comes back. After the show, you walk back into the world, and your old personality and its turmoil is waiting for you. Like it's on a hat rack there, and you put the emotional clothes of your past on, and once again, you're looking for peace. Well, maybe we'll go to another movie. Or maybe I'll just take drugs. But if you get to the point where you see that this is no good, now you're beginning to practice Zen. Now you're going to stand in front of the master and cut off your right arm. Right? So this is kind of the koan. These little dramas are walnuts. Each one is a little different, but they're all the same. They're all like the Chinese puzzle box that you can't open. Isn't that interesting? I was watching Poirot, the Agatha Christie mysteries, and in one of them there was a Chinese box and you couldn't open it. Of course, Poirot found it. You just push this and this and it opens. No one else could find it, you see. So these Zen koans are like Chinese boxes. You just can't find a way to open them. But you can't not try to find it. So you work with, it's like a robo cube. Anyway, I digress a little bit, but the point is that you have to work with the koan by inhabiting it and feeling it. It's important to feel it. You have to be Huiko. And you also have to look at it from the point of view of Bodhidharma. Because you are Bodhidharma and you are Huiko. These two ingredients, these two this polarity, these antagonists, these foils are you. It's your own mind. That Bodhidharma piece is you. You have it. You know it. You know. Otherwise, you wouldn't look for it. If you didn't already have Bodhidharma, you wouldn't be looking for rest. But it's because you are Bodhidharma, you are also Huiko, looking for rest, you see. So being the rest and looking for the rest are the two dimensions or aspects of our own mind, you see. Unless I was already at rest, I wouldn't look for it. I think St. Augustine said that. Unless I was already God, I wouldn't look for him. You have to see that, But obviously, the walnut's still there. You have to find that spot that just opens it up. My mind is at rest, you see. My mind. So, if you want to work with this koan, get into it, dig into it. What is it that your heart yearns for? What is it that you would give your right arm for? What is that? What does it feel like? Where is it? What is that feeling? What is that nagging feeling that won't let go? I was watching Bosch, the detective in Los Angeles, and the theme song was The Feeling That Won't Let Go. The feeling that won't let go. What is that feeling? You got to get to the feeling of it. And then there's Bodhidharma. They're not out there. It's in you. Bodhidharma is, you are Bodhidharma. And you are Huiko. Crack the walnut. Thanks for dropping in.